What's going on, y'all, man? You know what it is, your man Smitty, the elephant in the room. We're here for another edition of Let's Talk About It. And today, we got one of the originals, man, the original Mr. NIL. You see the sound behind him, beyond the narrative, man. You see the name, Nevin Shapiro, man. How you doing, Nev?
Great, Smitty. How you
How
doing,
you
buddy?
doing, man? Well, before we get
Awesome.
an interview, where the name behind the narrative come from, man? You got to break that down for us. Let's talk about it.
Beyond the narrative is the guys that I've become really close with, and they had done an interview with me sometime, and we just linked, man. We caught each other's vibe, and they saw I wasn't this dude that they had read about and heard about all these years, and it just became a natural flow. And I bring my network of dudes into their world, and they're just really good people. Love those guys, all of them, and we got something rocking, man.
Got
It,
you.
it didn't start up. It didn't start out serious. It's just getting serious.
It's just getting
And
that's how a dream can always start. It's just how it
yeah,
starts
man,
as
when
a
you love
dream.
what you
Next
do,
thing
it
you
ain't
know,
work,
it's a
man.
goal.
So just with a bunch of good dudes, man. And that's it.
Got I got you, man. And since we speaking of that, man, I said, like I said at the introduction, I said Mr. Original NIL, man. Miss for anybody that don't know what NIL is, that's name, image, and likeness. That's something that's going on real big these days in college athletics, not just in football where Shapiro was at, but it's all across college athletics now. It's something that's been talked about for decades in college sports about the athletes getting paid. And I'm glad we go into this. Nevin's gonna break down how he got that nickname, the original Mr. NIL and all that. But one question I want to ask you to start this interview off, man. You
Yeah,
went away for what was it, 10 years, right?
10 years and 2 months, I was gone. Yeah,
Yeah, 10 away for 10 years. You went away for a $930 million money laundering scheme. That's what they charged you with, at least, and that's what you went
yeah,
away.
yeah. The charges were money laundering and securities fraud. Yeah.
Got you. Can you give us a brief rundown on how that came about?
Well, there's a whole litany of documentaries and uh, unscripted everything's in play right now where there's a that story's not just a quick fire quick like answer to what that was, but I had done a lot of business for many years. I was very successful, and someone took a shot at me and my lenders for an extensive amount of money, and I ended up eating the charge. And that doesn't mean that I don't have any kind of culpability. I certainly did, but it's nothing what's been portrayed, depicted, and it's all going to come out in due time. I wish I could just drop the beans on it right now and just say what it is and who it is and this and that. But you can best believe I got my facts are in order, all receipts, documents, and the feds play hard, man. They
Yeah, they
want you. They
definitely
want
do.
you, man.
99 point conviction rate. When they come
Oh
get
man,
you, they trying to make sure
that
they
shit's a
got you.
hundred. Man. Don't believe what you hear. They don't lose. They don't miss, man. You
It's
know.
very rare that they miss. They may miss once every 10 years. You ain't lying about that.
There's a lot more that's going to come out about that. But like I had to plead guilty. I regret doing so. It was not an easy thing for me to do. I didn't want to. To this day, I wish I didn't. But there's collateral damage, and they were coming for my parents next, and the shit was about to get wicked nasty.
That's how they
So
play. Then the feds
yeah,
play that.
man.
If they can't get you to cop out, they'll start going at the ones close to
Well,
you and
they
try
did
to.
it. They
They'll
did.
come
They
at the ones
arrested my
close.
ex girlfriend. They arrested my ex girlfriend, and next up were my parents, who don't know anything about what my business world was. And I'm happy, man. I went through this, and I'm better for it. In all honesty, I ain't happy I had to go away for a decade. I probably could have learned the same lesson in 5 years
Yeah,
or two or one. But God has his plans, and I'm cool with it, man. And I'm really just happy. I'm at peace with myself. And the whole God doesn't sleep, so it's gonna come out, and I'll be vindicated inevitably. I'm fairly certain of that. Um, but that's just life, man. That's just life.
life throws punches at you. You just gotta know how to bob, weave, and counter back with a nice
Stick and
jab
move, man.
yourself.
Stick and move. You know,
Absolutely.
and I'm humble about it. Yeah, I was rocking and rolling, but I'm a better person today. I can't say that I'm not. I am, and I see things in a much different clarity than I ever did before. And you can't lie to that guy in the mirror, man. he knows what's up. You know.
Absolutely. To continue with that, not to go and make this whole interview just about that, but since that's a lot
Mhm.
of big part of your story, man, the rumor has it, and I just gotta know. They said they named that you had without naming any names too. You don't have to go in any names, 'cause like you said, you're gonna put the story out later
47.
on. Yeah, you already knew where I was shooting at that. He never knew, right? They said you had
47.
47 players that you helped out were ready to testify against you if you had went to
Yeah.
trial with the feds.
That's documented. Yeah. And
That's why I read it, and I said I got to make sure I ask him to make sure that that's not just no fabricated stuff that I
I
read
already
online.
gave you the answer before you asked the question, man.
Yeah,
I
47
was there
people.
before
That's
you
crazy.
started. Yeah. So, a lot of them weren't frontline guys, to be honest. Um, stragglers and hanger-oners. That's why you never know who's in your circle when you're out and you're rocking and rolling. You just got to know. You got to peep everyone in your inside unit, man.
Absolutely.
It's always it's always the lames that'll get you.
Yeah, it's never the ones that's you really know. It's the ones that you let come around and hang out with you as your
Yeah,
story goes on and grow and
yeah,
getting older. Absolutely.
yeah, man. And so I know who they are, and I'll just leave it at that.
I got you. I ain't. Yeah, that's why I told you we made that disclaimer. You ain't got to drop no names. Them names will come out later. The
You
ones
know
that
who
if
they
they
are.
don't, that's why I said they know who they are. So that, like you said, when you do stuff like that, you got to look yourself in the mirror every morning when you wake up
Yeah,
before you go to sleep. When you look at your kids, you look at your loved ones. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and know, damn, I did
yeah.
someone like that dirty. I got
You know, and the narrative has always been, he's a rat, this and that. Man, I got 20 years. I pled for 10. So, like, they check your paperwork at the door. You
you.
can't.
Absolutely, you got 30 days.
You get punched right in your shit if you're fucking hot. Like that's just what it is. So, it was hard to listen to all that stuff because it's so not real. Like, but people don't know better, and it's okay. That's just
Beyond the narrative.
people buy what you sell them. That's what it is. You know. So I'm cool. I'm good.
All right, so we can move a little bit on that since you know your
Whatever you
story
want to ask
relates
me.
with college football, man. What's your feelings on the current state of the NCAA college football, man? What's your current
Well, they're
state?
a shit show, man. They're a fucking straight embarrassment to society. They got to get worked. They got to leave the building. They are they are the reason for this nightmare. Like
What you mean by nightmare? Can you get clarify on that with
the
the
kids,
NIL or just the how
yeah,
it
well, it's just the whole thing. The kids deserve to get paid, and there's compensatory figures that are deserved, no question about it. Kids should be compensated. I mean, that was part of my whole fight with the NCAA, just so you know. And um, but there's no guardrails in this day and age, man. It's just crazy. And I'm seeing situations with runners and this, and kids are jumping into the portal. They shouldn't jump into the portal because there's no landing spot for them, but they
Not to
just
cut
think the
you off
grass
right
is
there, but
greener.
that's what I was. That was my next question. Once you went right into it, the transfer portal, because when you said it's a shit show, it's like the transfer portal is good. A lot of kids. I can't remember who's I see. I think it might have been Gilbert Arenas or somebody that said it. The NIL and the transfer portal is gonna, like you said, make the NCAA a shit show because there's gonna be a lot of kids that could have been that next guy or girl for the women's basketball, women's sport. That could have been that next one, but they jumped in the transfer portal because, like you said, they're chasing money, so they're
A
going to
great
programs they shouldn't be going to. And the NCAA is not really controlling how they using the transfer portal because now you could go to a school your freshman year, you don't like either the NIL deal you signed or you don't like the where you are on the depth chart and say I'm out of here. And you got kids that's
and
gonna keep bouncing around.
so there's no competition anymore. That's one. The second thing is, um, like a perfect example is this kid Jalen Rashada, the quarterback who was originally going to come to Miami, then he went to Florida, then he went to Georgia. Now he has no home. Now the kid's like basically out of football, and the kid was like a top 5 prospect in the country as a quarterback. So now the kid's got no career at this point because now he's tarnished. So he's coming back when he's never even had a chance to like be bad. So he's got to like reinvent his identity. And they've the NCAA is responsible for this bullshit. Like they don't want to pay these kids. They've never wanted to pay these kids, and they really still don't want to pay these kids. The only reason why they're getting paid these kids is because it was pushed into law through court. That's the only reason. Otherwise, they still wouldn't be paying the kids. It's a if they I don't know who's going to intervene, but someone's got to intervene on behalf of the NCAA because they're going to end up destroying the last like real game, man. Like college football is like the last true sport.
Because it's the
NFL is
last
like
sport because once you get to NFL, it's all business. You can see
yeah,
I'm a
and
Cowboy fan, so I know all about that. It's just all business.
it's the NFL is it's such a watered down product now with with gambling being legal and everything else, man. Every game's just fucking rigged. I don't care what anyone tells me. It's rigged, man. It's just rigged. You see it flag every play, fourth down at flag. It's so obvious, man. It's just so obvious. I don't even watch NFL, man. Like
I
I'll
see
watch
you got
for
your college doing college football. You had your Saturday show. I tuned in a couple of times, man. You had
yeah,
a
we
good
love
Saturday
it, man.
show.
We have a lot of fun because for one, I know what I'm talking about. Like I'm getting information on the real. I'm not even looking for it. It just finds me because everyone wants to share it with me for whatever reason. Um, I love the game. I love the sport. And, it's the best for me. It's the best 4 months of the year. I love it. And we have a great time, man. It just started off as a gag and like it really turned into like a real show. And now I think next year it'll probably be who knows, man. It's really exciting. It's fun.
Gotcha.
Love doing it. It's
So
not work
since we
when you love
speaking
it,
of
man.
college football, let's go circle back to a little bit about Nevin. How did your relationship with the U come? Because I know we gonna talk about Miami while we here.
Yeah.
Because you love the U, but how did that relationship just with you and the players, you and that whole situation with Miami University?
Yeah, so I was always a fan. Like, I moved from New York. I'm 55 years old now. I moved from New York in 1975. So probably 1978, I was going to the Orange Bowl, like in my Optimus pads. Like it was like just get into the game free if you were wearing your pads because there were no fans there. It was like they weren't a program of any interest at that time anyway. And Miami certainly wasn't what it was as a city back then, like it is today. But I became a real Canes fan, 78. It became a diehard crazy fan. 83 when we won the national title. I went on that whole ride with the program as a fan. And I think I became just super psychotic once Jimmy Johnson came and we broke out the fatigues. We just became
Mhm.
like, we were like what NWA was to the rap world. Like we were just you loved us or you hated us.
There was no
And it
in
was
between.
man, that was it. And it really like it took on the Canes took on the image of the city, man, of Miami. Miami Vice was coming on. You're a younger guy. You probably don't remember when that stuff was popping, but like Miami Vice, Scarface had just come out. So that whole city was in a turmoil, hot conflict type of city. Now it's like, it's a different setup now. Everyone wants to be down in Miami, but it was a controversial city and the team took on the persona and it was just us against the world, man. If you're from the 305, you knew what it was. And we, I just became a psycho fan at that point in time. And once I became a booster, 2001, March 2001, uh, I just found myself in the throes of these guys. I didn't go out searching for it; sort of found me, and I just got linked in. And what started out as just having fun ended up getting a little bit more serious, and I just developed relationships with all these guys. And unfortunately, the way it ended up down the road, that was an unfortunate situation. But I love the program. I've always loved the program, and that was just a really difficult, period of time for sure. And if people knew the real story, maybe they wouldn't feel otherwise, but at least they would understand why things took a certain turn that they turned.
People gonna believe lies. Lies is more entertaining than the truth. The truth
Yeah,
still gonna hurt at the end of the day, but lies is more
yeah,
entertaining than the truth. So
yeah.
that
I mean, I want to see them back. Believe me when I tell you. I was in a lot of spots when I was locked up and Louisiana, Alabama, and like to hear those people talking shit was ill. It made me ill because I know
well,
what
it definitely makes
I know what the greatest of the great looks like, being around it.
He was
And
there in the early 2000s. That's what I was going to ask you. You was in Miami. That's one of the Miami teams in the early 2000s, late 90s when you was a part of the team. That was some of the greatest college football teams ever. That was going to actually be something next I asked you. You were part of it. You were there with the Clinton Portises, the Sean Taylor. You were there for Sean Taylor?
Of course.
Sean Taylor. That's the only player for the Redskins I ever liked too. Is gonna make that disclaimer out when I say Sean Taylor name. Willis McGahee and etc. What was that? What was your thoughts on that team then? Like just being around that.
But I mean, those are my
greatest era of college football.
Those are my boys, man. Those are like sons of mine, like little brothers, man. Like every one of them. You know what I mean? There are a couple of guys I didn't mess with on the offensive line. They had their own, whatever. There was just a couple guys, but I was like in the mix, man. You know, these were my boys. And then I really got heavy involved that following year, 2002. I went next level. When we lost to Ohio State, I was like locked in with probably every single guy in the entire first, second. I'm just everybody, you know. But I looked at these guys like, you know, they were like little brothers to me. And, you know, I was making sure they're straight. I wasn't paying players to come to the University of Miami. I was just taking care of my boys once you got here because no one else was looking out. You know what I mean? And that's all it was, really. That's really what it was. There was no financial angle or any. It was never
so
about
if you
that.
don't mind answering this, you can say their names or not say their names. What players did you have them type of relationships with? Like that you had that, like you
All
said,
of them.
little brother relationship where you would
All of
help
them.
them out. You said all of them.
All of them. 90%.
Saying all of them though for the U back at that time, that's some great players. Like I just said, the Willis McGahees, the Clinton Portis, the Sean Taylors.
You can't name one that I wasn't. I didn't have a great relationship with Ken Dorsey. Wasn't a bad relationship. But he was, you know, he had his own thing going on. He was more of a private guy. He, you know, had a girlfriend at the time. But like, you know, I ran with everybody, man. Like I wasn't calling them. They were calling me a lot. There's some misconceptions
You
about
got to explain that then, because the way the stories that get put out is Nevin, you was going out there, you was basically like
a
off the books
groupie.
recruit for the
A
your
groupie.
group, off the books recruit.
Yeah, no, listen. Those guys were my groupies. It's the other way around. I had mine. I was good. Like I was good, man. I was straight financially, females, whatever I wanted, it was there. You know, I was already established and built. And people don't know the relationship that I have with these guys. There's a lot of personal stuff that took place between me and them. A lot of them are just, you know, they're kids also, you know, younger men. And so they had other problems that, you know, like everyone else has. And, you know, family matters, whatever, you know, internal stuff. And, you know, I was just always there, man. I was like a calming presence for a lot of these dudes. I made a lot of things happen for them. And there's no hate, man. There's no animosity from my end at all. I've spoken with, I don't want to say all, a good majority of dudes since I'm home. And, you know, it's always been love. Always. You know, the guys who did wrong or don't want to embrace me, they know it's because they can't, because they know why they can't.
Like I said at the beginning of the interview, you got to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and beginning of the day, anyways. When you do wrong by someone that did good by you, you got to look at yourself in the mirror.
You know, and that's okay. And I don't carry it around with me. I'm 30,000 feet above that, Smitty. Honestly, I have other aspirations in life. I'd love to see the U return to its. They'll never return to that glory state because that was a
hard now. It's hard now.
Yeah, but it was a moment in time. You know, that was just a very special moment in time. Twice, the 80s, 90s era, and then the 2000 was like its own era as well. But there's no like the dynasty days are, I think, behind us. The Alabama runs of like 7 years.
Like you said, with the NIL and the way it's ran with that transfer portal, it's I don't know if we'll ever see dynasties like we did with the U and Alabama.
Yeah, it's not practical. And you know, the fans that were around during that era should just appreciate how special it was. And you got to cheer for your team every year now, like just individual. There's no like third and fourth year senior. Like It doesn't happen anymore. It's the game, the whole, and not just the Miami thing, just the whole college landscape is just switched up. And it's a business now. That's what it is. There's no getting around it. It's a business. These guys are employees. And, you just got to hope that you got a good personnel squad bringing in the right talent and coaches that can coach them. That's it. There's everything else, like there's so much. I get, I do a lot of posts and, everyone thinks like I'm a Mario Cristobal. Hey, not the case at all. It's just business now. It's business. I don't care if you like the guy or you don't like the guy. Fucking
Business
win.
is business at the
Listen,
end
if
of the
you're
day.
12-0, I like you a lot better than if you're fucking 8-4.
Absolutely. Because 12-0 gonna make you more money
You
at the
could
end
be
of
the
the day.
biggest dick in America, but be 12-0, you could stay. 8-4, you could be the nicest guy. You got to go. That's how it is. I mean, what else matters, man? The only outcome is income.
Absolutely. Since we speaking of income and you was talking about all them guys, I gotta ask this question. And I got to ask this question.
My
What
boy
guy
Stevie
was on
over
the
there.
legendary yacht parties you had? I seen the pictures, man. I seen them pictures with that big old yacht. Nevin, man, who was on them yacht parties, man?
I think the question is, Smitty, who wasn't?
He said everybody. Was it just the you, or did you have other schools
Oh,
there?
no. They know what it was. I can't let those non-disclosures out. They know who it is.
Okay, I thought you was going to address the elephant in
Man,
the
that
room.
thing was banging, man. That was the real Love Boat. Yeah.
He said I had the Nevin's love boat, man. That's all right, man. To you.
Yeah,
And that's why I say, man. Like you made a good point though when you said because we both agree we don't think them Alabama dynasties and U dynasties would come back. So if you actually got to witness the 90s and the 2000s, and I say for Alabama 2010 to about 2018, 19, if you got to see those, just appreciate it because now with the NIL days,
it's the
it's
thing of the
probably
past.
never going to come back. So
It's a
yeah,
thing of the past, and it'll never be that type of, like, you'll never see like what Miami had. Let's just use the 2001 team. 38 players drafted. Like, if you look at that whole setup, you'll never see something like that again because the landscape's not set up for 38 guys to hang around.
Yeah, and you'll never see a Frank Gore caliber, Clinton Portis caliber, and Willis McGahee caliber of players, all three on the same team backing
Not only
each other
that,
up.
you had Jarrett Payton, Najee Davenport, Jason Gathers was excellent. Jason Gathers couldn't even get on the field. They had to like create a position for. Man, we were stacked, man, stacked 7, 8 deep. Like, it was just crazy, stupid, and that was it. I laugh when I hear about this LSU team 2019. We would beat the fucking fuck out of that team, man.
Would
Period.
you with the Joe Burrow's LSU team? You
Man, Joe
think
Burrow
y'all?
would be throwing. He'd be throwing from his back.
Yeah.
Man, come on.
All right, so man, Miami this year they bounced back this year. Shout out Cam Ward. You dropped a bomb on Cam Ward earlier this year, last year too. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But you see what Miami did this year after going through this horrendous slump that is not the U caliber, and I can speak on that being a Florida State fan. I was happy as hell last year to see us bounce back after what we've done since we last won our chip in 2014. So I understand when you about to answer this question. I understand the size and the oohs and ahs you feel about it. But how did you feel seeing Miami go through that slump, seeing as you was a part of the glory days of Miami, seeing them go through that slump while you were away?
Well, the initial part of the slump, I didn't really have any feelings because I was really
You still had that little
I
bitterness.
was in my
I know
feelings.
that part. You had that little bitterness from the
I was in
situation.
my feelings. So I wasn't cheering against them. I just really wasn't,
You wasn't dealing with that. You just wanted at
I
that time
wasn't
in
I
your life,
wasn't
you
in
just
a
wanted
I
that
wasn't
play.
in a kumbaya mode.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
just put it that way. But as I started seeing them just be average, it bothered me. It just bothered me. And then to think that, I had something to do with part of it, like people are still on my back, like I'm the reason. There were other issues way before my situation as it relates to the University of Miami that got them to that position. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it, and I don't enjoy it now. And yeah, they recovered some this year, their record, but they really underachieved. They should have been 12-0, and in my opinion, they should have been in the national title game because they would have won in the Orange Bowl, regardless of who they played, because you know how the crowd gets down here. It gets live, and they'll carry you through. And I think at the very least, they should have made the national title game. There was no dominant team. Ohio State got hot at the right time, but there was no dominant team. They should have been 12-0, and I think they underachieved severely. It was an uptick for a record for them, but for the money they spent and the talent they had, and bottom line, they had Cam Ward. He was amazing, and there's just no reason that that team didn't play for the national title or at least get to that Final Four.
There's
No
a
reason.
lot of games, like you said, they won. Don't get it wrong. There's a lot of games Miami won, but like you said, they were underperforming. There was a lot of games they won. They really should have took the L. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
back.
I don't disagree with you on that, and that's not me being any kind of throwing shade. That's just for real. It's what it is. It's on anyone who's you got to be honest with yourself. What it was really it was they wasted a great talent, man, in Cam Ward. They could have done a lot more, and that's the truth.
So speaking of Cam Ward, since you bringing him up, we gotta address the elephant in the room. You dropped a bomb on the sports world. You and shout out Pac-Man Jones. He's an ex-Cowboy too, baby. That's you, Pac. That's your man. You dropped a bomb when you was on his show with him, man, talking about
Mhm.
Cam Ward going to the Giants and the OC from the U going with him.
Mhm.
But I know you can't drop your sources. That's never good to name drop your
No,
sources.
I
But
won't.
is this like a legitimate source that's saying that? Because that was a
Well,
hell of
I
a
can tell
bomb
you
you dropped on
this.
the sports
I
world.
can tell you this. I don't talk just to talk. There's no cap. Like I'm not trying to make news. I know what I was told. I know and it wasn't just one person. So yeah, there are 3 people specifically. I'm just
Mhm.
gonna say one guy signs the front of the checks.
That's a bomb right there. That's the bomb right there. That's addressing the
I'm
elephant
looking
in
for
the
all the
room right
smoke
there.
come draft day, man. And don't forget, because if it doesn't happen, the Giants decided to win a game, and that pushed them out of the number 1 spot. But when I said that,
I'ma
Cam
say
Ward
that.
wasn't the number 1 rated guy in the country at that time. I said it when it wasn't sexy. That's what makes it more official.
So that
Everyone jumped
now
on
that you
later.
say that, it
Oh,
do
now
because
he
he
became
wasn't
that
number one. It
sexy
was
guy.
Shador, wasn't it? Wasn't it still Shador ranked number one at the number
Yeah, I
quarterback?
don't remember who was number 1, but I know that Cam Ward wasn't being discussed as the number 1 pick in the draft at that time. I think it was the first week of November when I said it. But I
And the
had known this.
Giants and the Patriots were tied for the number one pick at the time, weren't they?
I I think, I don't
I know the
the
Giants was tied, and I
Raiders
know the
I know
Patriots
the
was
Giants were
number
the
one.
number 1 pick at that time. So when I said it
And
with
they
all
lost. I mean,
intention.
they won. That put their stock down.
Right,
That made, like you said, it made
right.
it a little more
I said
legit
it with
because it's
all
like, why would
intent.
I waste the first overall pick on this guy?
I said it with all intent that they were going to the Giants at number 1, 2, wherever the Giants were. That was the comment. That's what it was intended for. And the
Mm,
reason why the Shannon Dawson thing is the reason why he was mentioned in it is because the NFL is a copycat league, and Cliff Kingsbury was coaching Jaden Daniels. And so they had that symmetry, college college to the next level pro, same system thing. And that's why Shannon Dawson was mentioned as part of that situation. I
mm,
didn't just drop that like because I thought it sounded good. I dropped it because it was told to me that exact way.
mm. Well, we gonna
But
see.
let's see.
That Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl was last night, I believe it was the East West. We know the Combine coming up this month, February, and then we got the draft coming up in what April, May. So we gonna see. We gonna see if what happens, Devin says happens, and we gonna have to recircle this. When I come down to the 305, just sit down with you and face to face. We gonna have to laugh and smoke a cigar. Like, hey man, you called this one. You called this one.
I stand on it. It ain't changing. They want him.
Okay. But since we just keep Cam Ward, man. You said
Mhm.
you feel like the U this season wasted a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
You said they wasted a hell of a talent. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts though on Cam Ward this season? Like just not just saying you feel like the
Incredible.
team wasted him.
Incredible. Like Carson Beck's got a lot to live up to. Man,
Yeah,
that
he
dude
did come to
balled
the U. He
out,
came to
man.
the U. He transferred. That's right.
Man, he balled out, Cam Ward. Nothing but props, man. Props.
Who does
Great
Cam
year.
Ward give you if you got to compare him to any player, past or current in the NFL? Who would you compare his style of play to?
He's not as athletic as Cam Newton. It's certainly not as big. Cam Newton's a big, big dude.
Yeah, he's like
Um,
6'6", 250.
he's big dude, man. That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. No one that comes to mind like right away, but I love his style, man. He made a few throws this year that were just incredible. That first game against Florida when he like rolled out of the pocket and hit Jacoby George in the back end zone, man, that was just a laser rifle strike. I mean, that's a straight talent. And that he composed himself and stopped. Bing! It was just good. Like, just you can't coach that. That's it. You got that shit or you don't.
Talent you can't coach. You could just help break it better and put it all together.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Absolutely.
just made a lot of I just liked his whole game, man. I like how poised he was, how chill he was, how he was a leader. Really, really impressed with that guy, man. And I think I th- I really think, man, Mario Cristobal cost that guy
A
the
lot of
Heisman
money.
Trophy. The
A
Heisman
Heisman.
Trophy,
The
you
Heisman.
know.
Oh, so you think he would have? You think the coach cost him over? You think he had a chance over Travis Hunter?
I think if Miami goes undefeated, 12-0, he's definitely in that conversation.
Travis Hunter was a hell of a college player this year too. Top
He was
five. I
incredible.
say he might have been the best corner in the country, and he's definitely a top 5 receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible. I don't take anything away from him. I just really think that Cam Ward had that type of year. And if they're
Yeah,
12-0 and they're playing in the national title, like I I just think the fact that they took some L's, it killed his possibilities.
right.
I really think he was that good, man. He was really great. Great.
Gotcha. But since we speaking on Travis Hunter, I want to ask you a question. Just because you have a history of dealing with college kids, you look said that you say you look at him little brother. The Travis Hunter situation with his girlfriend. What was your thoughts when you were seeing all that? As a guy that likes to cover college football, you into the deep thing. And what was your thoughts on that Travis Hunter situation that he went through for like a good old 2 week span? Where he just could not stay out the media because of his girlfriend, and then you had people with way social media is nowadays with the podcast and just Instagram, the X,
Yeah.
Facebook, they were just attacking him.
It's it's the world we live in today. I hate it. I'm more of a throwback to the old school. I never could have done some of the things I was doing in today's world. It's just too viral. I thought I thought it was unnecessary. He seems like a really good kid. And you know, I didn't like that situation at all.
And it
At all.
wasn't I didn't like it because it wasn't like it's nothing he caused or went out and did to go viral about
No,
it. It was
he's a
other
good
stuff around it.
he everything I see about him, the way he takes interviews and just I like him a lot. And I think he's gonna be a very successful player at the next level. And I hope he is. Yeah, I like him a lot. I didn't like that stuff he had to endure. Some guys ask for it, some guys don't deserve it. He didn't deserve it.
Right. Got you. Yeah. Since we
Yeah.
speaking on Travis Hunter, it's Coach Prime, man. He was a hot topic in his college. And he's a hot topic for the NFL head coaching.
Mhm,
And he's been a hot topic in college football, man. I'm a Florida State fan, so you know
mhm.
how I feel. He's an alumni there, and then we dropped the ball. Matter of fact, let me start with that question. How do you feel about Florida State being a U fan and them not bringing Dion in?
I think I think it would have been premature to bring Dion in, and Mike Norvell had a great year. They were undefeated and really, in all honesty, probably should have made the playoffs. I think when
Thank you.
Travis
Thank you for
Jordan
saying that. Thank
yeah,
thank
yeah. Jordan Travis got hurt and, that probably ended it for them. Um, but I mean, they had a great year. And so it would have been hard to replace Mike Norvell based on what? He'd lost no games. So would Dion have been a good hire at that point? I don't think so. I think Mike Norvell deserved to be where he was. And he brought them back from the depths of despair. His work.
That's being nice right there. That for Florida State standards, you
Yeah.
saying that was being nice for
Right.
us. We
Yeah.
we we didn't even deserve to be in D1 football over the last little
Yeah.
bit.
So but today would probably make more sense. look at someone like Dion, or look at Dion, the coach, Florida State. Today's landscape is made for Dion to be a coach in the college game. And so he's going to get kids, man. You see what he's doing in Colorado. He's getting
Got the
top
number
5,
one recruited
yeah,
quarterback,
he's
number
getting
two
top
recruited
5.
quarterback.
Yeah, he's getting top 5, top 10 national ranked talent. So, it's WWE entertainment is what it is. That's what it's become in this whole college game that we love. And Dion's perfect for it. Is he a great coach? I couldn't tell you that.
It's too early.
Is
It's
he
still
is he
too
is
early.
he is he an amazing marketing machine?
Absolutely,
Yes.
A1. He should start his own marketing class.
And that's what this world is about. At the end of the day, it's who's got the bag. Like, that's what it is. Anyone says otherwise, they're just not being honest.
Gotcha.
So I think he's made for the landscape of college football today.
Got you, man. So we'll move on that, man. So let's get a little bit back into the NIL, man. How do you think this NIL for today, not the NIL your time, but just the NIL today, is impacting college athletics, like
It's
negatively and positively?
well, the only positive is kids can get paid now. So like now they don't gotta starve and make money for the other for the man. Now
Right.
they're getting their own. That's the only positive. The negative is there's just no guardrails. So you got everyone trying to pimp these kids. You think you got a kid. Let's just use Carson Beck as an example. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Let's say he pulls a DJ ukulele in the first month of the season.
Yeah.
Does he tap out?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting mine. You're paying me.
Sort
That's
of
why they
like
got
what Cam Newton went viral for saying on First Take yesterday when they asked him about would he rather take the MVP, trade his MVP in for a Super Bowl.
yeah.
He
I
know what
saw
his answer was, so it goes back to what you're saying
Yeah,
about
I
him.
saw that. Do you tap out, man? And like, was Florida State really that bad? Were they really 2-10? I think a lot of it had to do with they quit. I don't think they were a 2-10 type team.
That's what
They
makes me
quit.
the most. That's what makes me so mad about Florida State team. I'm looking at us. I'm like, bro, I know we lost some players to the draft, but we are not 2-10. We should have at least won 6 or 7 games this year. And so when
Right.
you say you quit, I'm just happy someone else that is not a fan of Florida State can even say that. Just
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you a
Well,
Miami fan and saying it's like y'all are good. You just quit on the team. Like
I
y'all
got a
got
few
your
really
NIL checks. You
close
live in
friends.
Florida.
I got a few really, really close friends that are Florida State guys. I take a lot of joy in watching them suffer.
Come on, Nevin. We've been vibing, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on,
I'm
bro.
around these guys every day. Man, I take a lot of pride in watching them suck. But anyway, yeah. I didn't think they were as bad as 2-10, but I think they did quit. I do. And that's a byproduct, I believe. Not only of a bad quarterback play. I don't think that guy's as bad as they let him
He just
be.
looked
Yeah. I
bad.
think he's bad. I think he's actually I'm really surprised he was that bad. But
My starter process is there's no way a quarterback can play Division I football, Florida State football, and be that bad. So I'm with you on that. Like it had to be more than just like the players quit. We could watch players quit because it's obvious they live in Florida. They got
Mhm.
NIL checks. So they like, man, we ain't doing nothing this year. I'm about to enjoy this money and living in Florida for the next couple
and
of years.
that's the downside of the NIL situation. You had asked, what are the positives, what are the negatives? They've got to have a system in place. And when I say they, I don't even mean the NCAA. Someone's got to come take those dudes over. Like they don't know what they just that they're so far from reality that it just needs to be overthrown, and a new governing board has to come in and like, listen, this is what we're going to do. Every team, if it's a salary cap or if it's whatever it is, because it's just not a level playing field. It's just not.
Yeah, hey, because it's gone crazy. Like we said at the beginning, man, it's like they got the NILs, and then there's no rules and regulations on the transfer portal. So it's like a guy could say, oh, I only signed a 1-year deal. I got me a quick M real quick to play here 1 year. Y'all not giving me no playing time. Cool. I'm gonna go somewhere else. And now they about to give me 3 mil for 2 years. I stay here for 2 years. It didn't work out. I'm gonna bounce out. So like you said, there's no control. It's like the wild, wild west. Everybody for themselves. You can just jump around, do whatever. So that's why we both agree. I think the dynasty era in college football is done. Like the Alabama era, the Miami era, the Florida State eras, the Notre Dame eras, all that stuff
You
is
got to
done.
get on
We'll
the you
never
got
see
to get
that
on the
again.
program with what it is today, man. It's a year by year deal.
Absolutely. If you most, that's why I said our era of actually fans being like, no, this is my team. I've been rooting for this team. Like I'm a Florida State fan. My first time being a Florida State fan was in '99 because of Bobby Bowden when he beat Michael Vick. So it was like that's a memory, and that kept me going. And we were still good till about when Bobby got near the end of his career. He got a little older, so
Yeah,
they kept him around because out of respect, he's a legend. So you
yeah.
could not just let
Love
Bobby go
Bobby.
like that.
Always. God rest his soul, man. Always love
Absolutely.
Bobby.
So
Always.
you know how that goes. Like you, but now I think these new generations coming in is like you said, it's the year by year thing. I don't really think we'll see a lot of college fans being like, "Nah, this is my team because of this." It's gonna be I'm here this year because such and
Like
such from
signing a 1-year deal,
Miami
man.
State. Yep,
There's
and it's
no
gonna be
there's
like
no
that.
long-term commitments.
That's but that's what's messed up though, because that's what made people so interested in loving college athletics is that the fact it was like you actually was getting you feel like you wasn't getting cheated for what you was watching.
well, you
When you
would see
watch
your
boxing,
guys growing into positions and like, man, I can't wait. This dude's coming up next year. I can't wait to see him. He got a little bit of playing time. Everyone knew when Frank Gore came in and even McGay, he was playing fullback in front of Portis, blocking for Portis. Like you could just see we had dogs lined up. We couldn't wait to see the next dude. And it's
mhm.
just not though. That's a thing of the past, man. It's over.
It's
That
over. That
that
NIL,
situation's
that's
done.
the only thing I don't like about college football players getting paid. Because, like I said, that's taking any excitement that was in college football is done. It's like because you just like the football, college sports is the only thing. Like I said, you don't feel you getting cheated. When you watch boxing, you could watch it, and I love boxing. I don't know if you've seen some of my reels on boxing, but I love it. You could watch boxing and be like, this dude's getting his ass whooped this fight. How did y'all give him that win? Because you're getting cheated. He brought in more money, so that's what we can give him. The
Yeah,
NFL and NBA, you can watch it. Like NBA this year has been getting complained on all year because they're like it's a shit product. Yeah, no wonder it's a shit product. You owners are paying these guys all this money, and you're like, I don't want you playing this game. So people are
yeah,
paying money for tickets, and like, dude's not paying no more. They're not playing tonight. So now the ticket sales are going down because people are going to say, shit, I'm not about to pay for no ticket, and I don't even know if the guy I'm coming to watch is going to be playing. The NFL,
healthy,
you
healthy
seeing
scratch,
yeah,
healthy scratch.
healthy
Yeah,
scratch. What he
man.
scratched
Both.
his knee? That's what he was healthy for.
I
Come
don't
on,
even
man.
watch. I don't even watch pro sports, man.
It is
It's
because
just
it's sad. In NFL, what do I do? I need to go into that. What's been the complaint all
no,
year? Yeah, I don't do it. Like the flag,
no.
it's a flag. You be like, bro, if you're gonna call a flag on that, you could call that every play. Then
Yeah, no. It's especially now with gambling being legal. It's
you see what just broke the news yesterday with Terry Rozier in the NBA. He's under federal investigation now for supposedly doing prop bets. He was going over on purpose. And I got a little conspiracy theory on that. I don't know if you believe it, but my conspiracy theory with that Terry Rozier, when I read the paper, I said, so y'all are charging him or not charging him, y'all are investigating him because y'all are saying he was betting on himself on games he was scoring over than what they thought. I said that sounds a little fishy because if he had went under when a lot of bettors have betted him over, would he still be under investigation or they've been like, leave him alone? We made money off him. That's just my thoughts from reading the
yeah.
paperwork
I'm in
yesterday.
the
But
middle
what
of
do
my
I
own
know?
conspiracy
I'm
theory
just Smitty the
myself.
elephant in the room. I don't know nothing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now,
I
like you
mean,
said, that's the only thing, man. And I just hope and I pray because right now, betting on college games is really you could just bet on the games more so. I hope and I pray that they do not put them player props in college football and college basketball because the moment they do that, college sports is done, like you said.
yeah. They're inviting the devil to the party, man. Yeah,
Once they put FanDuel and Prize Picks and DraftKings in college sports, it is done. It's done. You count if you ever like college sports, you might as well not even look at it to be in it. You might as well just look at it to be entertained, not be have your passion and love for it.
yeah. There's a yeah. I know a little bit. I know a little bit about what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said I my conspiracy theory, but
Yeah,
I mean my conspiracy theory sounds a little true if you read it through everything. But who am I? I'm just Smitty the elephant in the room. I'm just addressing the elephant in the room. I ain't, you know what I mean?
all
But
right,
nah,
man.
man. I
Stay
gotta
the
ask you
elephant,
a
man.
question.
It's good.
Yeah, I gotta ask you a question though, because I deal with a lot of high school athletes, man.
Yeah,
I interview college high schools out in DC, some in Virginia, some in Maryland. Um, as you, as being someone like you said, you dealt with a lot of these recruits before they came to the U, while they were at the U, and even after they were at the U. What's some of your advice that you would give to a high school recruits getting ready to go to college and getting ready to have to deal with these NIL deals? That there's the
I would,
NIL's about
well,
to be
for
a real
one, I
thing.
would have you got to have an authoritative figure in front of you, whether you be an attorney or your one of your parents. There's got to
It's
be
usually trust
someone.
your parents too, y'all. I don't mean to cut you off, but you know, a lot of times with that money, you find out who your loved ones really are when that money.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
it's you have to have somebody with a business skill set who really just understands. And and then you got the developmental part. You don't want to pick a school that, like, you're not going to get developed next level. Like, I'll just use as a brief example, and I'm not putting them under, like, making them to be too great, but like Ohio State, they've been putting out a lot of great wide receivers. So there's a thought process, I know, because I've heard it. A lot of people want their, if your son's a receiver, you want your kid going that way because they get developed to go to the league and whatnot. So I only use that as an example, not to pull on Ohio State, but I use that as an example. You want to make sure your kid's going to where, like, he's going to get coached up the right way and end up in the right spot, because it's not a quick race. It's a marathon. So you want the money long term, not just a quick hit. Like, yeah, let's get some money for the first 2 years or while he's in college. You want that real check, next level check. You know what I mean? For, generational purposes, more than likely, because that's where the dollars are. So my advice is, you just make sure you have maybe it's your high school coach, someone that you really trust and can get you in front of someone to look out for your best interests. You should get as much as you can, but you also want to get to a place where you can develop next level and make a lot of money. So you don't have to work
Absolutely.
your entire life. You could
Absolutely.
just land in the right situation. You're well prepared to become a professional.
Absolutely. Because everybody's not going to be the next Devin Hester.
No, no.
Speaking of Devin
And
Hester, I got to bring up Devin. I got to, man. I
yeah.
was going to save the Devin Hester convo for when me and you have our in-person interview, but I
Hmm.
had to bring it up now because I know
Yeah.
that's an important topic that I've seen floating around the internet with you where you spoke on it.
Hmm.
So, what's your feelings as far as that whole situation? And for anybody that don't know, can you run down the whole situation with you and Devin? Devin was a great player. I want to make that disclaimer. Devin, you probably the greatest kick returner, punt returner of all time in NFL history. You were a great returner. But can you go ahead
Well,
and
for
break that
one,
down?
he's not probably, he is the
Yeah,
greatest of all time. Um, just it's really, for me, it's a very common, it's a pretty simple matter, man. I was around all these guys, and, like, people may not believe this is what took place, and I can't make people believe something or not believe something. There are a number of witnesses, but, like, I was really close with these guys, so I knew that Devin was being held back, and it was just ridiculous. And I put my 2 cents in it, and you know, I didn't make Devin Hester run a 4.2, 4.3 40 or be the way he is. He's just incredible. Devin Hester's got God given skills from an athletic football talent standpoint. God given. Um, but sometimes you gotta clear the way for people to get a chance, and maybe you have involvement and people don't see it, but that doesn't mean you weren't a part of it. And they were holding him back. And and I made some comments to the head coach, Larry Coker, at that time. And it was addressed, and Devin took off from there. I didn't give him his skill set, but I gave him an opportunity because someone spoke up on his behalf. That was me.
sometimes that's all you need in life. You just need that one person to say, "Man, listen, I'm not saying that I could do his job for him, but give him a shot." That's all.
He was
That's what a lot of things.
Listen,
It's
man,
a
he was
saying.
he
It's
was
not
too
what you know, it's
incredible.
who you know. Sometimes.
He was too incredible to be like being played with and toyed with by the staff. That was it. That was it. I've read the comments. That thing's gotten like 7 million views.
Yeah,
And
it went up. It went
I
up.
mean, because it's it seems like incredible to the layman everyday person, but it was just normal business for me. It wasn't a big deal to me. I was really more concerned with seeing him get the opportunity that he should have been getting anyway. That was it. I didn't do nothing special that I wouldn't want someone to do for me if the role were reversed.
Absolutely. That's why I said it's that as a saying in life. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Sometimes who you know will get you through that door. What
I'm
you know
very
ain't
proud.
always gonna get you nowhere. What you know is just good for once you get through that door. Who you know is what can open that door
There's been
for
a
you.
number of guys too, similar situations, maybe not as polarizing as a name as Devin Hester, but there's been other guys I did the same thing for. And, I don't have to clout chase to validate who I am or what I witnessed. I know who I am and they know who I am. And I'm really, really proud of Devin for making the Hall of Fame because
He deserved it.
not only did he deserve it, but he was given a gift, man, from above. That kid balled out, man. I don't think there's any whether I knew him personally or not knew him personally. If I'm watching that guy, that dude's electric, man. Electric. And I was just proud, man, just to know that I saw that in him before really anyone saw it, from my eyes. And I was happy, man. I'm really proud to see him reach that. He deserves it. And, I wish him the best, man. He did it.
All right.
He
That's
did
good,
it.
man. That's like I said, man. It's not about what you know in life. What you know is just good for when you get through that door. It's who you know, and if you have who you know can get you through the door, what you know is what you use after you in there. So that's good. That's definitely all right. So
Yeah.
before we get out of here, man, Nevin, has been good rapping with you, but I want you to go ahead and let them people know where they can find you. Talk about that college football show you be doing on Saturday, so that way
So it's
August right around the corner.
Yeah, so it's Beyond the Narrative Sports, and we're on YouTube, and like we're just really expanding. Like things are just happening pretty fast for us, and I'm happy to be part of it, man. I work with a bunch of great guys, and it's not even work. Like it's just fun. Like we just
Work
enjoy
is
it,
what you have to do. Having fun
man.
is the dream.
It is just fun, and I'm at my Instagram handle is Nevin Shapiro, and my my X handle is Shapiro Nevin one, which I have a social media team that's helping me because I'm like not Mr. Tech savvy, and I'm not allowed to respond to a lot of my stuff because I can't control my mouth. I got like Tourette syndrome, and
Oh, me and
these
you
guys,
gotta watch
these
some
guys are in
sports
here
together.
laughing at
We
me.
gotta watch some
They know
football
they
together.
know what's up. Yeah, I'm on timeout, like for good. And other than that, man, like just check our stuff out, man. It's awesome, and it's just real, man. There's like it's not it's just real. Like I'm getting it from the former players. And I'm not looking for it. It's just finding me. And plus, I follow my own games and I watch my. I'm just a fan, like you. I'm a fan.
Absolutely, I love them. I love
I'm a
them.
fan. I'm no different than you. You know, I'm just like I'm a little bit normal. I don't get too emotional anymore when
Yeah,
we
and
lose.
that's why I'm at that point in life where I think
Yeah,
the emotions then finally like when I was younger and I used to be emotional, all my
yeah,
old head family members they used to be like, don't worry, you'll
yeah,
realize this shit
yeah,
eventually. And I ain't never get it. It didn't click in.
yeah,
But now that I'm in my it's like I don't know what it is. I'm 35 now. Once I turned like 32, 31, and this is the crazy part. They all told me, they said, youngster, once you get in your 30s, you'll understand this shit.
yeah,
Once I
yeah,
got to my 30s, it was like man, this shit rigged, man. Hell
yeah.
no, this shit can't happen like this.
Just
How the hell this team got all these players and this shit keep going the same way every year?
that's what makes us fans, man. I get it. All the fuck Nevin Shapiro stuff and hate and
Nah,
this
I
and
can't
I
say no
get
F
it, man.
Nevin
I'm cool
Shapiro,
with it.
man.
Like I get it,
You
man.
telling your truth. There's three sides to a story. Your side, they side, and the truth can never be disrespectful. And if you're telling the truth, it can't be taken as disrespect.
I
You
never
might not
sell it.
like it, and you allowed to combat what he's saying, but the truth is still the truth. Like I
I never
said,
sell it. I tell it.
like when you was telling me about the narrative people try to create about you. At the end of the day, lies are funny and entertaining. We all get a hee hee ha ha
Mhm.
viral moment out of it, but
Yeah.
you still got to deal with the truth at the end of the day before you lay down. And the truth is going to still affect you the way it did when you first heard it.
Yeah, just be genuine, man. Be who you are, you know what I mean? Treat people right. You give sugar, you get sugar. You give ass, you get ass. I mean, that's just what it is, man. Just,
Absolutely.
and yeah, just keep being the elephant in the room, man.
Absolutely. And one more thing. Man, you and Dan Levitard worked that shit out, man. Y'all got it together yet, man?
Nah, that's not gonna happen, man.
Why not? You sitting there smirking. Y'all
you have
can't
to talk to me off record, off camera, man. I just
But all right, man, Nevin, it's been good rapping with you. Shout out to the whole Beyond the Narrative crew, man. I appreciate y'all letting me have a moment of y'all time. Don't y'all stay tuned. Me and Nevin gonna have an in-person interview. Follow up on this later on, man. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Nevin's Beyond the Narrative YouTube channel, and make sure y'all subscribe to Smitty the Elephant in the Room. Let's talk about it, addressing the elephant in the room. It's been nice rapping with you, Nevin.
all right, bro. Nice seeing you.